Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, I honestly hoped I would never have to give this speech on the floor. Hope I don't have to give it again here in a few weeks. During this debate on medical malpractice this year and in previous years that we've talked about this, there's been a lot of facts, figures thrown out about hospitals closing, insurance rates, all kinds of things. A lot of it's been competing information. It's been one side or the other, depending on who it is, favors that particular side. But some facts that I believe are fairly indisputable, based on facts that I believe are independently verifiable, is that Iowa's insurance climate is actually very stable. We have some of the lowest rates in the country. We have rates that have remained steady. We have more insurers now in Iowa than we have in the past several years. Insurers are entering the market. If this was such a bad environment, they wouldn't be. Iowa, time after time, has been named one of the best places to practice medicine in the country. By one study last year that I saw, ranked number 3. Yeah, it's not a bad environment. Iowa's legal and climate is also very stable. Representative Meyer talks about the jury verdicts being out of control, but in 2021, 10 medical malpractice jury verdicts were awarded. 9 defense verdicts, which means 0 damages. There was only one plaintiff's verdict, and it was either 300 or 100, and I can't remember which one. Not really out of control. 2022, the medical malpractice jury verdicts were 15, just last year. 13 defense verdicts rendered verdict of 0. There were 2 plaintiff's verdicts. One was either for 100 or 300. Again, I can't remember which one. The other one was the $97 million case out in Johnson County. We've talked a lot about that. I've talked a lot about that. But one of the things that we need to remember is why I keep harping on the claims practices issues, because I used to do that job. That was my job. And as a matter of fact, the claims adjuster that was involved in 4 of the 6 verdicts that people point to that are huge, that are nuclear, I worked with. That claims adjuster is not a good one. That claims adjuster I actually went to law school with. And let me tell you, there's a reason that those things happen, and it's incompetence. It's incompetence, and I know it's incompetence because I used to do that job, and it's bad. We're rewarding that incompetence by doing this and citing those out-of-control verdicts as a reason to do this. Plain and simple truth of the matter is the American jury system, its entire purpose is to hear the facts of a case, then decide the damages based on those facts. It's our way of doing it. It's our way of doing this since the beginning. It's our way of doing this, quite frankly, since the Magna Carta in 1215. We talk about putting a price on life. It's hard. But we've tasked 2 groups to do that, and really only 2. Insurance companies still put a price on life. They may offer that price, but it's up to the individual who's lost someone, like Representative Meyer and myself, to decide whether or not that price, which is the only way we can do that under the American system, because that's the only way we have, because we can't bring back life. We can't replace spinal cords. We can't replace arms and legs. It's the only way. We've tasked the individual who suffered the loss to decide whether or not what's offered is sufficient. And if they don't believe that offer is sufficient, we task the jury with doing that. We task them with that responsibility because they're the ones sitting in a courtroom, hearing the evidence, looking at the plaintiff, and making a determination as to whether or not they should get anything or something based on the facts of the case. We as a legislative body don't have that right because we don't know the facts of the case. We don't know by saying your pain and suffering is only $1 million, whether that is a sufficient amount to properly recompense someone for what they're feeling and what they've gone through. No two people have been impacted the same way when they've been injured. It could be the same injury. You break a rib, I could break a rib, Representative Moore could break a rib. It's going to impact us differently. But we're going to cookie cutter approach this. We don't care. Again, it's not our right to set a limit on a person's pain and suffering, and I find it incredibly arrogant of us to even think that we should. To think that we know more than the people who hear the facts, look the injured party in the eye, and truly assess what their pain and suffering is worth. Quite simply, caps are not the answer. We talk about needing to protect Iowans who may lose health care. That is our job. We do have that responsibility. I agree, Representative Meyer, I agree that we need to make sure people have access to health care. But doing so at the expense of those that are injured by a malpractice, by a doctor, is simply wrong. We would be far better legislators to try to find policy solutions to protect both the injured and the not yet injured. The amendment offered by Representative Meyer attempts one possible policy solution to improve health outcomes, but there's more we can and should do as opposed to doing caps. Insurance claim handling practice reforms, better reimbursement rates, creation of a risk pool. If anybody wants to know what that is, feel free to ask me afterwards. Growing rural Iowa, so that rural Iowa hospitals have people to treat and babies to deliver. That's how we protect all Iowans and make sure they have good access to health care. That's our job. Let's do our job. Let's not take the job of a jury because it's not our job. I urge everyone to reject this bill. Let's go back to the drawing board and find good policy solutions to protect all of the Iowans. Thank you.